I've heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard something by seeing the ocean, it somehow burns your karma. I don't know if this is true. I don't know where I heard that from. But I could understand, like, well, maybe, because you start to see yourself in perspective of the vastness of eternality. And then you see yourself in a not a self-deprecating way, but a reality, which is, I am so tiny. I am part of something much grander than myself. I am not the center, which is the heart of materialism. I am the center.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
No,
Like where I'm going with this?
I think you're saying quite a few things that are really interesting to me, Raghunath. First, about that burning karma, I don't know where you got that one, but it makes sense to me. Because when we speak of
I don't
karma,
know where I got it either.
Okay, was it a comic book? Could have been.
Probably from Amar Chitrikata, where I get a lot of my wisdom from.
Good chance. But because when we speak of karma, like when we read, these sacred texts about, yoga and karma and bhakti and all that, karma, it speaks of karma in two ways. One way is that, there's something happens to us, like as a result of our karma. We tend to kind of like boil it down into the most primitive ways, right? I hit someone over the head, then I'm going to get hit over my head. It's something like that, and it's a fact that that's one aspect of karma, that your physical activities bring physical reactions in this world. But a lot of what we read about karma actually has to do with how your mind becomes conditioned by your actions as a result of your actions. And it's a fact, and you're sharing this just like in what you're saying about people coming up to the Super Soul Farm, but our minds have become conditioned by the artificial environments that we've made, and the result is that you lose touch. He in this nugget, he wrote about stillness, I think, didn't he? I think he mentioned that. Let me go back to the nugget. Yeah, there was a stillness and stateliness about these trees. Have you ever seen these big, huge redwood trees?
Yes, I have.
I've never been there before.
Yeah, they're massive. Unbelievable.
I understand
redwoods. Yeah.
And so, there's something about it that slows you down, that's so almost surreal about it, that it just kind of he uses the word stunned here. You become stunned by the sight of it. And in that kind of, or you're saying it by looking at the ocean, yeah, but by shaking up that like our cognitive kind of like callousness, that we can think I am the center, right? And then you look at that ocean, you go, I'm tiny, right? I am very small, and all the things that I think are so important are also small. There's something about that is karma burning, that is,
right?
Reprogramming.
Just gazing into the stars can just humble you in the most beautiful way.
Yeah, and that's all.
Not
favorable.
humiliate you, just humble you.
Yeah, not humiliate. Yeah. It kind of restore
Sometimes we
a
think
sense of reality, right? Which is humility. Ultimately, reality means humility.
That's what it is.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Govardhan Hill, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a Bhakti Yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center, New York City, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Govardhan Hill, and the pilgrimage is over, and now we've started the Bhakti Bunch Pilgrimage Part 2. Here are the handful of
stragglers.
The Bhakti Bunch. They're a very handful of dedicated Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, and we started off the right way, Kaustubha. We said our goodbyes this morning. A bunch of us took I can't even call it a half a prikram. We did a quarter of a prikram today, but it was a good 9,500 steps of prikram around beautiful Govardhan Hill. Stopped in Jatipur for a nice Jatipur lassi.
Okay, make sure you got that part of the hill in there.
Well, rumor has it that I only do Govardhan Hill prikram for the lassis, but that's not true. I actually love Govardhan. But hey, velocity's there. My theory is this about effort. Reach out your hand, and if you can grab it, you take it. But don't tip or you'll fall. Would you like that?
Don't
You like that?
tip.
You keep that.
Oh, I see.
Brother Sundari Radha says keep it.
Oh,
So
I
we're here with
I
Bach,
used
the
to,
Mike. We're here with Zeb. We're here with...
I think we
Hello.
got a super delay going on.
Can you
here,
hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. You talk.
Well, it's maybe difficult that we talk.
I was just saying I'm
because
here with Bach, the Mike.
This sucks. I hate it when this happens. You go ahead. Talk away.
I'm here with Mike Stone, Zeb, Mukund Kishore, Brother Sundari Radha, Sarah Didoma, and Katie Wickoff, and Zari. Zari from Bulgaria/Persia is here, and Miss Mara. And Mike Stone and Miss Mara are about to get initiated on the 14th. They're going to have a whole new names.
All right.
And
I wish they could just keep it
I'm
Mara.
excited. Yeah. Or Amara.
Oh,
Amara. Amara means no death.
that works.
Yeah.
Mara's like,
I'm surrendered to whatever my new name may be.
But anyway, it's getting great. We went to Mohan. We went to Radhakund, took a bath, and then we had lunch at Mohan Panda's house. Mohan Panda's daughter, I think, is a liberated soul. I'm dead serious. She's unbelievable young lady. Unbelievable. As like, she's qualified to lead the new world in, auspiciousness, in spirituality. She speaks
I think she does
like
the
she's
social
like
media
got
too, right?
decades.
No, I think it's his son that does the
His son
social
just
media, right?
yeah, but
Okay.
she's got like hundreds of years of spiritual education and realization under her belt. We were all
Generations,
sitting
huh?
there like incredibly impressed with the words coming out of her mouth.
What did she say?
And complete surrender and faith in her father and Radharani.
Just so much faith in Radharani, the holy name, spiritual life.
Very nice.
You don't hear such caliber of person. I can't describe it because it's like to meet some of these Brijbasis, they're such high vibe people. So they had this incredible lunch for us today. It was like delicious.
Oh,
Yeah,
look at you.
really delicious. We went to Vrindavan yesterday. That was wonderful.
That feels like last week we were
It
in.
feels like last week, but that was with
That was only yesterday.
yeah. I think one of my highlights was this one student, a lady probably in her 40s or something like that. She was like, was a lawyer. And she was so sweet. But she came on the pilgrimage. Because Zeb gave some instructions. Here's some due diligence. You got to watch Wisdom of the Sages. You got to read my book. And she came, and in her closing statement, she said, I really came just to shop. But I don't know. I fell in love with Krishna on the way.
There you go.
And it was so sweet. It was so sweet. Bhakti is like just so attractive.
Did she ever get the shopping done?
She got her shopping done. I think she got her bhakti done too.
Okay.
So
Look
how
at
are you,
this.
Prabhu?
I'm doing good. Over the weekend, there was some sad news, but sad but also special. Was that, and you may have heard
What?
that Adidev Prabhu passed away. Did you hear about that?
Adidev. Oh,
Adidev, who's
is that the parents of?
he's the parent of Ananta Govinda and Achyuta and the entire dynasty. Yeah. So I attended
No.
the memorial service for that out in Queens. And, it was, what can I say? A great soul passed away. Think about this, Raghunath, okay? He's 1974. He somehow probably meets someone in the street and buys one of Srila Prabhupada's books, takes it home, reads it, goes to his whole family. I think like 3 or 4 of his siblings, he said, this is it, and convinced them all, right? They all got into it. Gets his wife into it. Then he starts to raise children, right? He has, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 children? They're all like pure devotees, doing incredible service, in kirtan, especially in kirtan, right? Then the grandchildren are coming, it's just like one person's, it's like, particularly in our Kali Yuga world, but just in general, we develop some faith, but that faith is always kind of like, just like a weaker tree, might lean up against another one until its roots get really solid, and then it stands on its own. And, we have to, a lot of times our faith is really resting on the strength of the faith of others that really keeps us practicing and keeps us convinced and keeps us, strong. And one person's faith, from that, so many people, just in that family, became strong Vaishnavas, and they're all just doing amazing service, and it just spreads and spreads and spreads, He was great, so very gentle, humble man, beautiful man, and what a wonderful family. His wife, Antaranga, what a woman, just like she was so, the way that she handled the whole thing was beautiful, graceful, just like wise, realized. She spoke very beautifully. His son spoke beautifully, grandson, son-in-law, they all shared, and it was a really touching moment. So I really offer my respects to him and to that entire family. Beautiful thing to see a Vaishnava family flourish like that in Queens, New York,
Yeah, it's just it says something to the legacy that Prabhupada left for us. Otherwise, death or disease or sickness is just so confusing and heartbreaking. It's so glorious, actually, if a devotee dies. It's not in one sense, you're sad because we will not have that person with us. In another sense, it's like the most glorious thing. Look what their life was dedicated to.
It was a blend.
Not business, not even just like, I mean, he tied everything together. I'm sure he had, I don't know what he did for business, but it was all tied, the roots of it all, holding the family together, holding that dynasty together was his heart and his devotion. That's very beautiful.
It really,
when people
really
like that
special.
leave this world, it's always glorious.
You think about his wife, Antaranga, she's must have been married to him for 50 years, And you could see that she was, obviously it deeply affects her. And there's some tears, but really she was strong, and spoke so nicely. It was just, it's just moving to see these kind of devotees. Really nice. So anyway, that's what I did over there again, part of it.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
We have a nugget and we have a show to do,
sir.
But we have announcements first.
All right, let's do it.
Mara?
We're keeping the show on at this time slot, 6 a.m. Eastern time. Is that right?
Fine with me.
Okay. Tomorrow and the next day, so Wednesday and Thursday, we'll be on at 6 a.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
And that's my only announcement.
Okay, that's a good announcement. Here's our nugget.
Today's nugget comes from Frederick Viṣṇu, an American author. Did I say his name correctly?
I have no idea.
Viṣṇu.
Buchner. He's an American author.
He writes, I remember seeing a forest of giant redwoods for the first time. There was a stillness and stateliness about them that seemed to become part of you as you stood there stunned by the sight of them.
Redwoods, huh?
I totally get that. I remember being in Nepal once and from a distance catching sight of the Annapurna range where we do our hiking. And it's so massive and it's so still and it's so perfect. It's just sort of like, it freezes you. And like that type of stunning natural wonder becomes so massive, it makes you so still. It's so still and so perfect. All the noise of the mind, all the little thoughts, the plans, the worries, they just disappear. It's humbling. I wasn't necessarily doing anything spiritual. I wasn't meditating or chanting. Just standing there, you get like stunned by nature. And then it creates like a type of silence. And in that silence, like something opens up in me, right? You suddenly feel small. but like in a very beautiful way, like you're part of something vast or eternal. Like the world is whispering, I'm right here. I've always been here. This is, you know, something so powerful, something so grand, almost like a mountain or the ocean or the deep, moment of deep beauty or like the Grand Canyon. It can stop the spinning of the mind and bring you face to face with what's actually real. I think people experience that when they come to the farm. They stop. You know, you're living in the city, and sometimes you can't even see the stars, and you come up and you get out of your car, and you're like, oh my God, there's millions of stars out tonight. And it's something I've heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard something by seeing the ocean, it somehow burns your karma. I don't know if this is true. I don't know where I heard that from. But I could understand, like, well, maybe, because you start to see yourself in perspective of the vastness of eternality. And then you see yourself in not a self-deprecating way, but a reality, which is, I am so tiny. I am part of something much grander than myself. I am not the center, which is the heart of materialism. I am the center. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
No,
like where I'm going with this?
I think you're saying quite a few things that are really interesting to me, Raghunath. First, about that burning karma, I don't know where you got that one, but it makes sense to me. Because when we speak of
I don't know where I got it either.
Okay. Was it a comic book? Could have been.
It's probably from Amar Chitrikata, where I get a lot of my wisdom from.
Good chance. But because when we speak of karma, like when we read, you know, these sacred texts about, you know, yoga and karma and bhakti and all that, karma, you know, it speaks of karma in two ways. One way is that, you know, there's something happens to us, like as a result of our karma. You know, we tend to kind of like boil it down into the most primitive ways, right? I hit someone over the head, then, you know, I'm going to get hit over my head. You know, it's something like that. And it's a fact that that's one aspect of karma, that your physical activities bring physical reactions in this world. But a lot of what we read about karma actually has to do with how your mind becomes conditioned by your actions as a result of your actions. And it's a fact, and you're sharing this just like in what you're saying about people coming up to the Super Soul Farm, but our minds have become conditioned by the artificial environments that we've made, and the result is that you lose touch. He in this nugget, he wrote about stillness, I think, didn't he? I think he mentioned that. Let me go back to the nugget. Yeah, there was a stillness and stateliness about these trees. Have you ever been to seen these big, huge redwood trees?
Yes, I have.
I've never been there before.
Yeah, they're massive. Unbelievable.
I understand
redwoods. Yeah.
And so, you know, there's something about it that slows you down, that's so almost surreal about it, that it just kind of makes, he uses the word stunned here. You become stunned by the sight of it. And in that kind of, or you're saying it by looking at the ocean, yeah, but by shaking up that like our cognitive kind of like callousness, that we can think I am the center, right? And then you look at that ocean, you go, I'm tiny, right? I am very small, and all the things that I think are so important are also small. You know, there's something about that is karma burning, that is, you know,
right?
Reprogramming.
Just gazing into the stars can just humble you in the most beautiful way.
Yeah. And that's all.
Not
favorable.
humiliate you, just humble you.
Yeah, not humiliate. Yeah. It kind of restore a sense of reality, right? Which is humility. Ultimately, reality means humility.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like in regular day-to-day modern life, I see somebody getting so much attention. I'm angry at them. Why aren't they giving me attention? They're giving somebody else attention. Why are they giving him attention? Why aren't they giving me attention? And it's like this petty fight for who is sort of the coolest kid in the classroom. And then you stand under those stars and you realize, you know what? We are no different than people who have lived for millennia. We're just like such specks in time. Sometimes you walk through a graveyard and see, okay, the father's dead, and then there's the wife's gravestone, and the son died at 17. And then it's like, No one even remembers anything. This guy could have done anything with his life. We don't even remember. Our lives are like this. It's really sort of puts every bit of my worry and my plans and my false ideas of self into perspective. That's what it does. It's a healthy humbling.
It's a truth.
And so
It's
that's
like,
what it could mean to burn karma.
It's like a
It's
truth serum.
reality.
It makes
It's
you
like a truth syrup.
syrup.
Also,
As you take
no,
the
serious.
next sip
Truth
of your
can
drink.
also
there.
come in the form of syrup.
What are you drinking, Raghunath? What is it?
It's Mara's drink.
Okay.
She made it for herself. Nice.
Sucked out his 2 loud sodas.
What is it?
They're mocking me. Braja and Mara are mocking me. Okay.
All right, shall we?
Let's
well,
continue
You know who
on.
also became stunned in this way, Raghunath? By powerful vision. Oh, look at you. You're so far removed
In
from it.
Krishna Lila or
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
missing the
Ooh, where are we
segue,
in the
Raghunath.
Krishna book?
There's a segue here.
Lord Brahmā,
Thank you. Yes.
perhaps?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Let's listen in.
I can't even remember when the last time we did the podcast was.
Well, the last time we
Where
did it
were
was
we?
from Rishikesh, I think.
The last
that
3 or
far
4
ago?
times. Yeah.
That was
No,
like
we did
4
it.
months
No,
ago.
Jaipur.
And they were all Q&A.
But they've been
Oh, we
Q&A.
did
Did we do it in
Jaipur.
Jaipur?
Okay.
The last
Yeah,
time
we've
we
had a lot of
did,
Q&A.
Boy, Jaipur. Oh,
the last time we did the show that it wasn't a Q&A, you were just had arrived at the hotel in Delhi.
man, let me tell you this. Jaipur was unbelievable.
There you go.
Jaipur was special.
Did you go to the Vinodi Lal?
We never got to Vinodi Law. Never got to Vinodi Law, but we did have a great time at Radha Gopinath. Oh, the ladies of Radha
That place
Gopinath.
rules. Yeah,
Who
yeah.
are they? Who are these special souls? Just singing joyfully,
They're wonderful.
smiling.
And I'm sure that Raghunath took the time
Oh.
to point out that Tulsi outfit.
Yeah.
Indeed, he did.
I'm thinking of getting one made myself, outfitting. It's
Put
a
that on
jacket
Chain
and a
Japa.
skull cap purely made of Tulsi. It's like the original punk rockers. You know, but the people who dress like punk, like, look, we don't care what we look like. And even though they say that, they actually do. Because if they didn't really care what they look like, they would wear anything, but they don't. They wear a specific punk uniform. Isn't it true? They wear a
true.
typical motorcycle jacket. They were black leather. They never wore brown leather, right? Typical combat boots. They didn't wear any boots. They wore a particular combat boot. They wore particular jeans. They had the things written on the jacket. That's conformity in its own way. These crazy Krishna bhaktas, who would wear a wooden jacket because they're in love with Tulsi? That is like nonconformity to the next level.
Amazing that's been preserved all these years, huh?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Can wood last that long? I guess.
500 years or something?
I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, Raghunath.
All right, here's where we are. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tatojayam madhiraya. Before reciting the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta priyeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloki bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in class in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmadatam Yena Tasmai Sri Vedamaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 13, Text 55.
Text 55. What's going on, Raghunath? Do you remember?
Well, we have Lord Brahmā. Yes, Lord Brahmā stole the calves, calves, and he was confused. He put them in a cave, and then he
Cowherd
went
boys.
back to check, and the cowherd boys went to check on them, and they were all there. And then they actually finally revealed themselves that they aren't actually the original cowherd boys and calves. They are actually expansions of Lord Viṣṇu, and they started manifesting their Viṣṇu Murti identities. They're actually expansions of Krishna's body. So Lord Krishna is, or Lord Brahma rather, he's getting the sort of come to Jesus moment where he's sort of like, oh my God, I'm standing face to face with God. Can you imagine what that must be like? I'm standing face to face with God.
He was stunned.
And that's what's happening. He thought he could stump God. He thought he would, huh?
Yeah, it was like all of those boys and cows turned into forms of Viṣṇu, who he understands as God, right? He couldn't understand Krishna as
Right.
God, this little boy. He understands Viṣṇu as God. Then all of the cows and calves turned into forms of Viṣṇu, and they're all being worshipped. And he's watching this all happen, and it's blowing his mind. How did that happen? It's like you really got tricked. You know, it's like when someone really pulls a fast one on you. You like to watch those kind of, you join those kind of Instagram threads, right? Where like they pull a stunt on
Pranks.
someone, pranks, and someone's like, "What is going on?" And so he's really getting stunned here. Not only was it Lord Viṣṇu, they all became forms of Lord Viṣṇu, and they're all simultaneously there in front of him. Like, what did Krishna just do to me? You know, look what he just did. Not only is he Lord Viṣṇu, he can turn into tons of Lord Viṣṇus, and they're all being worshipped. And I thought I was so big, and suddenly I'm very, very, very small. You know, let us hear what he's going through. More.
It's almost like that's what the universe does to that's what the universe does to us.
Takes it
It
down.
it punks us when we're getting arrogant, right? And if you're a materialist, you're upset by getting punked. But if you're a spiritualist, you're like,
Thank you.
that's exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
This is exactly what. Thank you. I was getting too full of myself, and that's not going to work. That is not the formula for pure devotional service. So thank you, Krishna. Text 55. Thus, Lord Brahma saw the supreme Brahman, by whose energy this entire universe, with its moving and non-moving living beings, is manifested. He also saw that at the same time all the calves and boys as the Lord's expansions. Then, by the power of the effulgence of those Viṣṇu Murtis.
Hold up, Raghunath. We're reading all the commentaries, right? Because these are
Oh, you want to
Prabhupada's
read
last
the Okay, great.
commentaries.
By the way, Mr. Kaustubha,
Yeah.
we went to
Into that room.
Prabhupada's room
Nice.
where he left his body and he was giving the commentaries. We sat there, we offered prayers, we took it in. Very, very special day yesterday as we went through Prabhupada's samadhi, went through his room, saw all of his his typewriter, his harmonium. It was so cool. It was very cool.
Nice.
And then we
nice.
saw
So you were
all the
right there where
beautiful
this was written
deities.
or spoken, really.
Oh, man. It felt so special.
That's
Felt so special. Yeah, and we were at Yugalika Shore, too, which is where Prabhupada first went when he took sannyas.
such a nice place to visit now.
You know, and that place where, what was it called? It's not Yugalika Shore, but it was right next to Yugalika Shore. Anyway, and then we went to Keshigat, where all the devotees stayed. We had a great day yesterday.
All the
my
devotees
God,
stayed at
what a
Keshigat?
great- Did you know that in the 72, the
Oh,
devotees
okay.
I think from what I
1972,
understand,
okay. I thought you were-
in 72, when the devotees couldn't fit
Yeah,
in
I know
Radha
that.
Damodar, yeah, they stayed at Keshigat.
Okay,
And
I
that's
thought you meant the devotees right now.
Hare Griva's book, Vrindavan Days, talks all about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Commentary.
Continue here. So here's the purport. By this incident, Lord Brahma was able to see how Krishna maintains the entire universe in different ways. It is because Krishna manifests everything that everything is visible.
Okay.
Text 56. Then, by the power of the effulgence of those Viṣṇu Murtis, like every Viṣṇu Murti is bright and self-effulgent like a sun,
Oh.
right? Lord Brahma, his 11 senses, jolted by the astonishment and stunned by transcendental bliss, became silent, just like a child's clay doll in the presence of the village deity.
Okay. Interesting verse here.
Purport. Yeah. Brahma was stunned because of the transcendental bliss. In his astonishment, all his senses were stunned, and he was unable to say anything or do anything. Brahma has considered himself absolute, thinking himself the only powerful deity. But now his pride was subdued, and he again became merely one of the demigods, an important demigod, of course, but a demigod nonetheless. Brahma, therefore, cannot be compared to God, Krishna, or Narayan. It is forbidden to compare Narayan even to the demigods like Brahma and Shiva, what to speak of others. Then there's a quote, Yastu Narayanam Devam Brahma Rudrani Devatahai Samatvenaiva Viksheta Sa Pasandi Bhaved Dhruvam. One who considers demigods like Brahma and Shiva to be on the equal level of Narayan must certainly be considered a Pashandi. You are a Pashandi. That's like a cruel Vedic put down. You Pashandi.
I wonder.
Is that what it means?
It would be interesting. You want me to get the etymology of
Pashandi
that?
is like an atheist, I think.
Generally, you hear atheist. I'm wondering if push, here it's really posh, if that's in any way related to seeing.
Samat Vainaiva Viksheta. That means to see them equally. You are a Pashandi. Pashandi could be offender or atheist.
I'm pulling up the etymology for this right now, Raghunath.
Anyway, I'll read it.
I've got it right now. I got it.
Okay,
The
tell me.
the word Pashandi is a Sanskrit masculine noun which means heretic or atheist, or one who acts against Vedic injunctions and opposes pure devotional service. The standard etymology in authoritative dictionaries traces this form as it is derived from Pashanda, with the suffix in or e added, giving a sense of a person adhering to Pashanda, hearsay or heterodox doctrine. Okay. I was just wondering if the push has to do with see, like how you see or what you don't see, you know. But yeah, I think commonly it's used to speak
It
of
is a
an
put
atheist.
down.
Yeah.
Pashandi.
It's a put down.
Vishaya.
You know, so but
Vishayi, right?
here, sense and
Where are
joy.
these from, these words? They're all like Vedic put downs. Pashandi, Vishayi. Vishayi is like a sense enjoyer.
Sense and joy, yeah. But so here, Pashandi, you know, you're not recognizing. Here it's saying, if you think that Brahma and Shiva are the same as Narayana, well, then you're Pashandi. You don't really recognize the position of Narayana, who's beyond everything. Okay. Would you like to continue?
One who considers demigods like Brahma and Shiva to be on an equal level with Narayan must certainly be considered an offender. We should not equate the demigods with Narayan, for even Shankaracharya has forbidden this. Narayana paro vyaktat. Also, as mentioned in the Vedas.
That means that before the Vyaktat, before there was creation, Narayana was there. Which you can't say about Brahma.
Also, as mentioned in the Vedas, Eko Narayan na asin na Brahma neshanaha. In the beginning of creation, there was only the Supreme Personality, Narayan, and there was no existence of Brahma or Shiva. Therefore, one who at the end of life remembers Narayana attains the perfection of life.
Ante
Ante
Narayana
Narayana
Smriti.
Okay.
To remember Lord Narayan.
And
That verse comes right at the beginning of when Shukadeva Goswami begins to speak to Maharaj Pariksit. He lays that out as well. You know, this is an interesting verse, though, in many ways, Raghunath, right? First of all, we read in our nugget about being stunned just by seeing something great and majestic like the redwood trees. But there's nothing more majestic than what Brahma is seeing here, you know. He's seeing, you know,
Right.
it's suddenly, you know, dozens of Viṣṇu Murtis, or self-effulgent, being worshipped, it's completely left him stunned. Oh, your lights just went out?
Yes, they did.
You with us?
I wonder if the internet was going to go out.
And then
That's weird.
a really interesting analogy is used here, that it said that Brahma, he became silent just like a child's clay doll in the presence of the village deity. And so, would you like me to read about this? I have a commentary here by Vallabhacharya on this.
Yes, I would. I would love that.
So this is what he says. Oh, and by the way, another thing is it mentions 11 senses, which people may wonder about. But within the world of yoga and Sankhya, in this Vedic philosophy, there's the 5 senses that we talk about are called the knowledge acquiring senses, right? They take knowledge in, so that's 5. And then they say there's 5 more, which they call the senses of action, which means like locomotive, like the legs, and then that like the hands, like manipulative kind of sense. Yes, you can act them out, Raghunath, if you wish. Don't act out the following ones, please, though. Okay. Then there's the voice, then the organs of generation, and don't do it, and the organs of evacuation. Please refrain. And then the 11th one would be the mind, the 11th sense, because all of those are kind of plugged into the mind. Or they all bring, information to the mind. So here's Vallabhacharya. He says, our Lord's brilliance and power quieted all the 11 senses of Lord Brahmā. Hence, Lord Brahmā, turning his eyes downward, stood fully silent and overwhelmed by the grace of our Lord and his darshan. He stood there like a puppet, which is placed near the presiding deity of a city or village at the time of worship of the latter. In other words, like you all just came from the Govindaji temple in Jaipur, right? How many thousands of people come there every day? It's hard to say, right? You with me, Raghu?
Thousands. Yeah.
Huh? Many thousands, right?
Here.
And everybody's
Present.
singing. Everybody's attention is focused on Lord Govinda. Everybody's like, they're singing songs to him. Worship is being done. The whole food is being offered. All this attention on Govinda. But if you placed a clay doll next to him, that clay doll wouldn't be getting any attention. It's like everything's being focused on Govinda, nothing on the clay doll.
In one sense, it looks the same as the. Okay, what's the difference between that doll and that doll?
Yeah.
One's.
You're breaking up, Raghu. But yeah, so Brahma felt like that clay doll next to the village deity that's being worshipped, the city deity. He thought himself so important, and now he's just like a clay doll. He's getting no attention. He's watching. It was describing the different elements and everything that were worshiping these forms of Lord Viṣṇu, and he was walking around like, I'm Brahma, and let me, do this and do that, and suddenly he's just stunned, and all the attention is going to Viṣṇu. He's kind of like this puppet that's got no life. So it continues. He stood there like the puppet which is placed near the presiding deity of the city or village at the time of the worship of the latter, of the deity. The presiding deity is duly worshipped by everyone, but the puppet is kept nearby and no one offers any service or worship to it. Hence, we have to understand that just by residing or being situated at the same place, no one gets the right to get the same treatment which is accorded to someone else. Here the example of the puppet and the presiding deity is very apt. Both remain in the same place, but the presiding deity is worshipped and the puppet is not worshipped, although both of them are seen in the same place. In the same manner, all of them saw Lord Brahmā being present. Even then, they ignored Lord Brahmā, and this ignoring made the power and brilliance of Lord Brahmā decline. And this is indeed appropriate. Thus, when Lord Brahma's brilliance declined on seeing the extraordinary divine leelas of our Lord, the reason is that Lord Brahma's efforts had failed. Our Lord then caused the disappearance of his divine forms. This is described in the next verse. So now he's been stunned, he's been humbled, his mind has been blown. And now what happens next?
Oh,
What
it's
are
gonna
you
get
drinking
good.
now, Raghunath? Well, how many elixirs and
Well,
kind of things have you got going on over there?
I've exhausted myself on this trip. I'm putting anything in to keep me going at this point. The Supreme Brahman is beyond mental speculation. Can't figure him out. He is self-manifest, existing in his own bliss, and he is beyond the material energy. He is known by the crest jewels of the Vedas, by refutation of irrelevant knowledge. Thus, in relationship to that Supreme Brahman, the personality of Godhead, whose glories had been shown by the manifestation of all the four-armed forms of Viṣṇu, Lord Brahma, and the Lord of Saraswati, was mystified. What is this? He thought, and then he was not even able to see. Lord Krishna, understanding Brahma's position, then at once removed the curtain of his yoga maya.
Very interesting commentary.
Yeah, I got a big purport. Brahma was completely mystified. He could not understand what he was seeing, and then he was not even able to see the Lord. Lord Krishna, understanding Brahma's position, then removed that yoga maya covering. In this verse, Brahma is referred to as Iresha. Ira means Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and Iresha is her husband, Lord Brahmā. Brahma, therefore, is most intelligent, but even Brahma, the Lord of Saraswati, was bewildered about Krishna.
So, in
Although
other words,
he tried, he could not.
As I said, just so it's poetry, and it's interesting just how it's expressed. Right, that in this verse they chose to refer to him as the husband of Saraswati. So, in others, he's so intimately connected with the goddess of learning, and yet
He still got it wrong.
He's just Vishnu's on a completely another level. Krishna's on a completely another level.
But even Brahma, the Lord of Saraswati, was bewildered about Krishna. Although he tried, he could not understand Lord Krishna. And in the beginning, the boys, the calves, and Krishna himself had been covered by Yoga Maya, which later displayed the second set of calves and boys, who were Krishna's expansions, and which then displayed so many four-armed forms. Now, seeing Brahma's bewilderment, Lord Krishna caused the disappearance of that Yoga Maya. One may think that Maya taken away by Lord Krishna was Mahamaya, but Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that it was Yogamaya, the potency by which Krishna is sometimes manifest and sometimes not manifest. The potency which covers the actual reality and displays something unreal is Mahamaya, but the potency by which the absolute is sometimes manifest and sometimes not is Yogamaya. Therefore, in this verse, the word Aja refers to Yogamaya. Krishna's energy, his Maya Shakti or Swarup Shakti, is one, but it manifests in different varieties. Parasya Shaktir Devadayava Shruyate. The difference between Vaishnavas and Mayavadis is that Mayavadis say that this Maya is one, whereas Vaishnavas recognize its varieties. There is
this
unity
point right here
in variety.
This point, it's really important. It gets down to the essence of how these two different groups, the you could say the Bhaktivedāntas or the Vaishnavas, and those that understand the Supreme as a person, as compared to the Mayavadis or the Advaitins, or those who see the ultimate truth as non-personal, as an energy, merely an energy. They argue that when we speak of Brahman, it has no distinctive qualities. It's just like a oneness. That's all there is to it. Whereas the Vaishnavas say, no, Krishna is that part of Brahman, and it is one energy that begins to manifest in all different varieties of ways, that he has this creative ability to manifest his energies in all different varieties. And so there's different categories of his energy. And when you begin to understand that, you begin to see, okay, now I get there's two different ways that they're seeing things. Prabhupada will probably speak a little bit more on it now. Would you like to continue?
For example, in one tree there are
I
varieties
think
of leaves.
you
fruits, and-
skipped a sentence. Why don't you start with the difference?
The difference between Vaishnavas and Mayavadis is that Mayavadis say that this Maya is one, whereas Vaishnavas recognize varieties. There is unity in variety. For example, in one tree, there are varieties of leaves, fruits, and flowers. Varieties of energy are required to perform a variety of activities within creation. To give another example, in a machine, all parts may be iron, but the machine includes varied activities. Although the whole machine is iron, one part works one way, the other part works in other ways. One who does not know how the machine is working may say that it's all iron. Nonetheless, in spite of it being iron, the machine has different elements, all working differently to accomplish the purpose for which the machine was made.
This is interesting,
One
right?
wheel. Yeah, it is a good analogy.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's all one. If you were to walk into a room, and let's say there are many chairs there. Let's say some of them were big and some of them are small. Some of them were for adults, some of them were for children. Some were, one was a rocking chair and another, was different. But they're all made of the same wood. Then you could say, are they one or are they different? And the answer would be they're both one and different, right? They're all made of the same stuff, and yet there's a distinction. There's a variety within the oneness. That's what the Vaishnavas would say is kind of like the more well-developed understanding of the oneness. So Prabhupada's saying it here, like you take a machine that may be made of iron, but it has different parts that are performing different things. It's a perspective that allows us to make sense of the Upanishads and Vedanta. Whereas, you see, what the Mayavadis are saying, what the Advaitins are saying is that there is only this one energy, and nothing else is actually true in the ultimate sense. But if there's not different categories among that energy, certain things don't make sense. Like, for instance, they all accept that we are an illusion, that due to our ignorance, that we need to overcome, that we've been covered by ignorance, and that we need to become free of that. But if everything is just one, then who is covered? And what is doing the covering? Apparently there are varieties. It's a very difficult, the language really has to start to get very muddy, and at a certain point you just have to say it's inconceivable, because it really doesn't make a lot of sense. Whereas to say, yes, there's one energy that manifests, I am the energy of God. In that sense, you could say I am God because I'm made of the energy of God, but I'm in a different category of energy. And God has other categories of energy that are more powerful than me. And therefore, I can become covered and put in illusion. It's more sensible. It just fits, It doesn't make me say, oh, it's inconceivable. No, that's conceivable. Okay.
Where are we?
Consequently,
For example, in one tree. No, we're down farther.
we give different names to the different parts of the machine.
Consequently, we give different names to the different parts of the machine, saying, this is a wheel, this is a screw, this is a spindle, this is the lubrication, and so on. Similarly, as explained in the Vedas, parasya shaktir vivadaya vashruyate svabhavika jnana balakriyacha. Krishna's power is variegated, and thus the same Shakti or potency works in variegated ways.
See, what's happening here is what
Vidita.
Prabhupada's doing is he's going back to the original Vedic literature, to the Upanishads. He's saying, look, or this may be Vedanta Sutra, I forget, but he's saying, look, I'm not just making this up that the one supreme Brahman manifests in a variety of ways. When you read this verse, this is telling us that right from the books that you consider most important, the Vedanta, the original text of Vedanta. They're saying that parasya shaktir vivadaya vashruyate, that it manifests in all different varieties, this energy. Okay. please continue. Vivita.
Vivaida means varieties. There is unity in variety. Thus, Yogamaya and Mahamaya are among the varied individual parts of the same one potency. And all of these individual potencies work in their own varied ways. The Samvit, Sandini, and Naladini potencies, Krishna's potency for existence, his potency for knowledge, his potency for pleasure, are distinct from Yogamaya. Each is an individual potency. The Ladini potency is Radharani. As Sri Damodar has explained, Radha Krishna Pranaya Viktrir Ladini Shaktir Asmat. The Ladini Shakti is manifested as Radharani, but Krishna and Radharani are this, but Krishna and Radharani are the same, although one is potent and the other is potency.
So now he's explained that the Supreme Brahman manifests in a variety of ways, and then he immediately points to the most wonderful and special of all varieties, right? That you have Krishna and then you have Radha. Now Radha is Krishna's energy, but a unique variety of his energy that gives rise to the greatest pleasure, pleasure potency.
Brahma was mystified about Krishna's opulence. Because this opulence was atarkya, or inconceivable, with one's limited senses, one cannot argue about that which is inconceivable. Therefore, the inconceivable is called achintya, which is beyond chintya, our thoughts and arguments. Achintya refers to that which we cannot contemplate, but to have to accept.
So in
Jiva
other words, when it
Goswami
says we can't contemplate but have to accept, it means that we can't come to the conclusion without accepting someone's testimony, right? There's certain things that are beyond the realm of our senses, even beyond the realm of our speculation, that we're not going to be able to understand whether we're right or wrong unless we get the testimony of someone that actually has access to it. And we experience that every day in different things that we do, right? We accept someone's testimony. What's the weather going to be like today? We hear it from someone that's got more knowledge on it, we look at a map and we accept it on the testimony of someone that was there before. He's saying that there's certain things about reality that are achintya, that you can't just figure out with your speculation, that they're beyond the realm of your senses. So when he says you just have to accept, he means that you accept it by hearing it handed down to you. It's you hear it from someone who's got access to it. And that's especially revealing, speaking of the revealed scriptures, those texts that speak to this.
Okay.
Srila Jiva Goswami?
Srila Jiva Goswami has said that unless we accept achintya in the Supreme, we cannot accommodate the conception of God. This must be understood. Therefore, we say the words of Shastra should be taken as they are, without change, since they are beyond our arguments.
This point right here, this point here, he says Srila Jiva Goswami. Now, Srila Jiva Goswami is, we would say he's our most important philosopher. Right? He's the one that took the philosophy of Sri Chaitanya and wrote texts that really answered these kind of philosophical questions and most thoroughly. And he's saying Srila Jiva Goswami has said that unless we accept achintya in the Supreme, we cannot accommodate the deception of God. If we're going to think of God, we have to accept that there's certain things about God that are beyond the range of our speculation, that we just have to say that's God. He does things that we just can't understand. He's capable of doing things that we don't understand. Now, the distinction between the Vaishnavas and the Advaitins say that the material energy is inconceivable. Like the question that I'd have brought up before, if there's only one, then how does one part of the one get covered by the other if the one has no parts? And they say that's inconceivable. And we say, no, why we're covered by, why we're in ignorance is conceivable, that there's different energies and some are more powerful than others and they cover. We can make sense of that. That's not achintya. What's achintya is the Supreme Lord and how he can manifest so many different energies. So they say the material world is inconceivable. We say, no, the material world is conceivable. It's God that's inconceivable. It's a very significant distinction between the two. All right, I'm sorry. Please continue.
Therefore, we say that the words of Shastra should be taken as they are without change, since they are beyond arguments. Achintya kalo ye bhava natams tarkena yojaye. That which is achintya cannot be ascertained by argument. People generally argue, but our process is not to argue, but to accept Vedic knowledge as it is. When Krishna says, this is superior and this is inferior, we accept what he says.
He
It is
says
not
that in
we
Bhagavad
argue.
Gita, right? Yeah,
Why
he makes
is this? Yeah, why is this superior and that inferior? If one argues for him, the knowledge is lost. This path of acceptance is called avaroha panta. The word avaroha is related to the word avatara, which means that which descends. The materialist wants to understand everything by the aroha panta, by argument and reason. But the transcendental matters cannot be understood in this way. Rather, one must follow the avaroha panta, the process of descending knowledge. Therefore, one must accept parampara system, and the best parampara is that which extends from Krishna. What Krishna says we should accept is imam rijarshayo vidhu. This is called the avaroha panta. Brahma, however, adopted the... So?
I was just going to say, Prabhupada, just in this last paragraph, he's really gone right to the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, or 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, just saying, where Krishna says, I have my inferior, separated material energy, then I have the superior energy. I have different types of energy. Some are superior, some are inferior. But how do you understand this? You hear it through parampara. You hear it as it's handed down. It's the only way that you'll get the clear understanding of all these different energies and how they relate to one another.
When I was young, I met devotees before I was a devotee that weren't very mature, or they didn't even have deep realizations. But because they were connected with the parampara, it was like they were the wisest people I've ever met.
I know.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know
And that's
exactly what you're talking about.
that's the beauty of the parampara, or a particular bona fide list. It's not just you're reading books and getting some realization and sharing your realizations. It's like you're teaching like the authority of great masters, because you're really repeating what the masters have said. It's like this computer is dead, but when it's plugged in, it comes alive, and you could do so many things. You could enter into so many worlds within the computer. So we're just sort of dead, but we appear even wiser than we are when we connect with the parampara, because the knowledge is so vast, and you can basically, spread enlightenment just by being connected to what your teachers have told you.
It's avaroha panta means, panta is referring to the path. Avaroha means descending, and he's comparing it to varoha panta, meaning trying to climb up to it. No, it's knowledge that's handed down, and if it's handed down, anybody can receive it. You don't have to be a great climber. It comes down to you.
Okay.
Want to finish it up?
Brahma, however, adopted the Aroha Pantha. He wanted to understand Krishna's mystic power by his own limited, conceivable power, and therefore he himself was mystified. Everyone wants to take pleasure in his own knowledge, thinking, I know something. Right? But in the presence of Krishna, this conception cannot stand, for one cannot bring Krishna within the limitations of Prakriti. One must submit. There is no alternative. Natams tarkena yo jaye. This submission marks the difference between Krishnaites and Mayavadis. The phrase atan nirashana refers to the discarding of that which is irrelevant. Atat means that which has not a fact. Brahman is sometimes described as astulam, anan vashram, adirgam, that which is not large and not small, not short and not long. Neti neti. It is not this, it is not that. But what is it? In describing a pencil, one may say, it is not this and it is not that. But this does not tell us what it is. This is called definition by negation.
Right.
In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also explains the soul by giving negative definitions. Najayate mriyate va. It is not born, it does not die. You can hardly understand more than this. But what is it? It is eternal. Ajo nitya shasvato yam parano nahanyate hanyamane sarire. It is unborn, eternal, ever existing, undying, and primeval. It is not slain when the body is slain. In the beginning, the soul is difficult to understand, and therefore Krishna has given negative definitions. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, nachayanam klediyanta yapo, nasosayanti. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapons, nor can it be burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Bhagavad Gita 2:23. Krishna says, it is not burned by fire. Therefore, one has to imagine what it is that is not burned by fire. This is a negative definition.
Yeah, I believe
Right, that's
what
our time
Prabhupada's doing is
today,
he's
sir.
saying that we find negative, saying what something is not helps you understand it, but ultimately you have to be able to say what it is too. And so when it comes to describing the absolute, the Mayavadis say there's the only way to talk about it is to say what it's not. Whereas you can open up Bhagavatam and you can find out exactly what it is. You can read about Sri Krishna, the Pada Brahman. Okay. Now, takeaways, Mara?
Okay, you ready for some takeaways?
I am.
Okay. One person's faith can support a redwood forest.
Oh.
Raghu's onto his fifth drink, I think.
What are you
during the
drinking now,
show.
Raghunath? What?
This Govardhan heat is sometimes drains you of everything. I'm drinking a sweet and salty lemon soda, sir.
His third.
Okay.
A devotee's death is glorious.
It is.
Be humbled and stunned by nature.
Humble and stunned.
The ocean burns karma.
Mm.
Nature can restore a sense of reality.
It certainly can.
The material world is conceivable and God is inconceivable.
This is true.
Don't argue, just accept Vedic knowledge.
Don't argue.
Plug in to Parampara for wisdom and enlightenment.
Okay.
Oh, we're getting some ones about Raghu's drinks on the chat board.
What?
And
And the universe punks us when we become arrogant.
Ooh, I like that.
ouch.
Yeah. Help.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Greetings from Govardhan Hill.